The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WinBet. WinBet is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WinBet has what you need to win. Sign up today. Get a $100 free bet when you bet $100 at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. State restrictions apply. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no voice, no the guy. It's me, really real, villain real, Terrell Furman Jr. at your service. And it is another Friday in the NBA. Got my guy Scott Studio Russia with me. Scott, what's going on?
Yeah, nothing much. Unfortunately, didn't do too well yesterday. Ended up losing the lock and the dog. Went with a couple player props, and each game was decided by what felt like 50 points. Really not many good basketball games. The only game that was technically close, keyword technically, was the Grizzlies game, and Memphis was up by 20 for most of the game. They just stopped caring in the fourth, and Orlando made it close. But the two TV games, wow, those games were bad. Really not much more to add there.
That's Thursday. Hey, whatever's NBA on TNT, you know it's a blowout. Just take the 11 plus both ways. You know it's a blowout.
Yeah, the way that I look at it, you had Boston, who I said on air I thought should, keyword should if they actually care, look like the much better team and win the game. The problem was I still leaned to Dallas because I couldn't trust the Celtics and I didn't want to lay the 3, but they dominated because they were the much better team. And Luka didn't go Superman tonight, so he ended up not being able to carry Dallas. And if Luka's going to struggle, the team's screwed every time. And then you had whatever the hell that Clippers game was. I don't know how to describe that. They were down what felt like 40 immediately in the game, and Denver won the game by 30. So, yeah, both games were decided by about 30 points. Utah won by double digits, and Memphis won by 8, but it should have been double digits. So, really just a horrible day in the NBA for fans of competitive basketball because it was not competitive at all.
All unders in that Clippers game would have been amazing if you just look at the box score.
Oh, it was disgusting.
Paul George 3, Reggie Jackson 2, Zubac 8. He actually led all starters. Kawhi had 6. Marcus Morris had 7. The leading scorer of the game was Jamal Murray of 18 points. Like, what was this game?
You also had Moses Brown off the bench who had a double-double for fun.
Hey, man, just like pure fun. I cannot wait for Zubac to be injured again, and we can get props for Moses Brown. That's my guy.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the slate. Let's not waste any more time.
Well, I was going to ask, did you have any takeaways from yesterday or just bad basketball, wipe it clean?
No, I think it was bad basketball. I mean, on the picks page, sg.pn/NBA picks, I did take the Boston Celtics. I thought it was a good spot for the Celtics. I'll never wager my own money on Boston, but I thought that, people that like Boston wager money on Boston, that it was a very good spot to wager money on them. So that was one of my favorite plays. I don't know what the Clippers did, man. You want to say that's a bad beat, but I don't know how that game got out of hand. Like, I really can't sit here and pinpoint what point the game got out of hand. It's just you just saw the Nuggets creep, take the lead back, and then just never look back.
I mean, it was a murder. Tatum, though, shout out to him, though. He did have a triple-double. So, props to him.
Yeah.
I think that was his first of the season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
For the props, though, I think overall they were okay. I ended up winning with Horford. Horford under 8.5 points has been basically free money for a couple weeks now. He just doesn't shoot the ball. Really not a great day overall, but Tatum did have a triple-double. I'll give him his flowers for it.
Yeah, being on Ja in this game, just saying that hopefully this game wasn't a blowout. It was a blowout for a portion, but Ja still got his.
I had the double-double for Ja, and this time he actually tried to score. So.
Yep. And Triple J, really nice game with him, 31-10. Very great game. Good game for him. All right. Let's go ahead and knock this game out the way because it's disgusting. I really don't want to sit here and talk about it too much. But we have the Philadelphia 76ers playing the Chicago Bulls in Philadelphia, laying 4.5 points. 231 is the total. injury report for these two teams in this game, and you have for the Chicago Bulls, Alex Caruso is questionable, Javonte Green is questionable, Tony Bradley is not on the injury report, and for the Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid is out. Now, I know that I've sat here and I've said that I can't trust Chicago. I guess there is a spot where we can trust them because unlike last season where they struggled against anybody that was top 7 or better in the league, now they're 6-1 against the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and they're playing Philadelphia, who I think we can say is one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
Do they get this done on the road with no Joel Embiid?
So Philly managed to overcome his absence by beating Indiana. It wasn't easy. They should have actually lost the game. Indiana kind of fell apart in the final 40 seconds of regulation there. I'm going to take Chicago. And you kind of addressed my initial thoughts publicly just a second ago. I think that Chicago is going to be a bit feisty in this game. They had a nice win there against the Nets. Yes, I know that was a home game. You can make an argument they should have beaten the Cavs at least once because they had good opportunities there.
I mean, they battled back from down 20 points in the first game, and then they were up by 20 in the first quarter in the second game, and they blew both.
Yeah, and the Bulls have played better basketball recently, so I will give them props there. Still not sold on their long-term future or anything. I don't think this team's going anywhere, but they have looked better over the past couple of weeks. I think I'm going to take Chicago. I just think that with them playing better against good competition and the fact they have definitely looked a bit sharper for the past couple of weeks, including that win against the Nets in their last time out, I think 5's a little bit too many. I think the Bulls have a shot to win the game here. I still don't trust Doc Rivers in the fourth quarter of games. It feels like Philly's involved in a lot of close games late, and they don't exactly look good in those situations. We saw them blow a double-digit lead to the Lakers on
the Lakers
Friday,
one was
like couple was that
the Lakers one was the one that I was thinking about where they blew it to the Lakers, let them take it to overtime, and then Russ blew it in overtime. But yeah.
And you look at the Bulls and their recent success, they have been very good in clutch time minutes, which was an issue earlier this season. But now DeRozan's, kind of rekindled his insane clutch shot making, and that's carried Chicago to a couple wins. I'm going to take the Bulls. I just think this game's close. I think the Bulls hang around, and I think they got a shot to win the game. So I'll take Chicago.
Oh, man. Everybody in the chat's telling me not to do it. Don't get on Chicago. And I'm not going to do it to myself. I told myself that I'm done with Chicago, and I think I still am. I'm going to get through this little rough patch, but I think I'm still done with them. And it's really because Philadelphia's been really good at home. You're looking at 15-6 ATS at home, 15-10 as a favorite. And in this spot, I know it's no Joel Embiid, but that just moves the ball a lot better. And I like Philly when they're moving the ball, when they're playing up tempo, when they're using their other guys. I think that this is the opportunity where they can still have a pretty decent game. I'm going to stick. I'm seeing a bunch of money come in on the Bulls. I'm going to stick with Philly here. Give me Philly -4.5. I think that this is still a pretty decent spot. And with this team does play well without Joel Embiid. Like they're not walking phase without Joel Embiid. So head to head in this matchup, last 5 games, all 5 have gone to Philly. Philly has covered all 5 games. They covered 3. They covered laying 3. They covered laying 7.5. They covered laying 4. They've covered as a 4-point dog, and they covered laying 2.5. So as a dog, as a favorite, they're covering against this team. I'm going to do it. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm taking Philadelphia 76ers -4.5.
Yeah, just based on the line movement and everything, I think I'm still going to lean Chicago, but I probably won't have any money on this game.
Yeah, total sitting at 231. Come up all the way from 224.5. You got to think that's Joel Embiid being out and the 76ers running a quicker tempo pace. What do you like in this one?
I think I'm going to lean over. You mentioned the pace. I know it's a big line move, but Caruso potentially not playing is big too because he's really Chicago's only good perimeter defender at this point. I think you'll end up seeing pretty much a track meet breakout. I wouldn't mind some player props here if you want to go for the kind of, I forgot the exact term for it. Like I don't want to call it a pyramid points parlay, but you know what I mean? Like you have DeRozan
Ladder?
for not really a ladder, but it's more like DeRozan 25, like Harden 20, like you work your way down.
Oh, okay. And you basically take in the best point scorer, whoever has the highest points prop, take them for that number and then ladder everybody down else.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good way to play this.
But I see points. So
yeah, I think that's a good way to play this. Take because DeRozan's what at like 24, 25 and a half, 26 and
Probably.
a half,
You're
something
going to
like that.
see Levine probably like 20 and work your way from there.
Yeah, I would do a DeRozan. So Levine 21 and a half, DeRozan 26 and a half, Harden 24 and a half, Maxey 22 and a half. I would do a I would take DeRozan up to 30. DeRozan 30, Harden 25. Let's go. Zach and Maxey both for 20. That probably puts you in 10-1 range easy.
Probably.
All right. Next game on the slate, we have.
Oh, and Harden assists. I can't forget about Harden assists.
Oh, yeah, duh. Portland Trailblazers are on the East Coast to play the Indiana Pacers, where the Pacers are laying 1.5 at home. 237 is the total. Injury report for these two teams. And we have for Portland, Jerami Grant is questionable. Yusuf Nurkic is probable. We have Gary Payton II, who's questionable. You know, you're not seeing Justice Winslow or Nazir Little. And then pretty clean for the Indiana Pacers. So, last time out, Portland Trailblazers did take that L against Minnesota, which in its right is in its own right that is bad, but they also beat them twice at home already. So this was a little bit of get back from Minnesota. I said it was a good spot for Minnesota. I just didn't trust them to take it.
Mm.
Now you're getting 1.5 again, but this time against the Pacers.
So I'm going to ask you this because you've been on the Portland bandwagon for most of the season.
Okay.
Has the ship kind of sailed at this point? Because I keep looking at this team and we keep talking about how I didn't think they'd be good this year at all.
Mhm.
I wasn't sure Chauncey Billups could coach. They had a good start to the year. I don't want to say they've fallen off a cliff, but they have kind of struggled lately.
I think they come back to the mean.
Yeah,
that's what
fair.
I'll say. That's what I'll say it is. So,
but you were mentioning them as a potential team to come out of the West. Like,
yeah.
has your confidence wavered at all, or you're still hanging in there? Because Portland the last couple of weeks has really not looked that great, and I'm kind of wondering what your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, I think that this is, like I said last time, I think this is the buy low spot. I think this is the worst basketball Portland's going to play over the course of the entire season. And when you just think about it, you have guys that are in and out of the injury report, like Nurkic. They're going through an illness through the team. So Nurkic has been in and out, questionable. Grant, you see, has what they say was wrong with him, a quad issue. So he's questionable. Gary Payton's just now working in the lineup and then still battling an ankle a little bit. So he's in and out. I think that once this team kind of gets through this little rough patch and just kind of figures it out, and I think that they will. Chauncey's been a veteran in the league, and he knows that we can be a good team and have a rough patch through the season, that we just got to get through it as a team. I think that they're going to play a lot better basketball and look a lot closer to how they started the season opposed to where they are now. So is this the best time to back them in a lot of their games? Probably not. I'd probably wait and see, but I do think that they're going to turn the quarter, hence why I said you probably want to take a future on them to come out the West, just because the West is so jam-packed right now that it could be a random team that comes up and they have just as good a shot as any.
Yeah, once again, you're higher on the Portland than I am. I wonder how much of the early season success was fool's gold. I understand that offensively they have weapons with Lillard and with Simons and with Grant, but defensively they could improve with Gary Payton II. I'm not sure how long it's going to take before he actually becomes a steady member in the rotation.
It's going to be at least after All-Star.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's going to be a while till he's officially. And at one point, they are probably going to move him some type of lineup. He may not be in the starting lineup, but it's going to be him playing with the starters a lot. Like, you're going to see a lot of minutes with him at the starters. So.
I think Portland's okay. I think that they're basically a 7-seed team to me. I just don't see the consistent, I just don't see their consistent style of play. I'll phrase it this way. I don't think their style of play is going to result in consistent results.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to be a streaky team all season long, and I try to stay away from those teams, at least long term. Short term, you can back them when they're good. You can fade them when they're bad. We know a bunch of teams like that. You're just higher in Portland than I am. I think they're fine. I don't think they're an amazing team. I think they'll probably lose in the first or second round, in my opinion. But for this game, I like Indiana to kind of transition over, because based on how Portland's played recently, there's no way I'm going to the window with this team.
Yeah.
I just can't. Indiana lost their last game to Philly. Great effort. They lost in overtime. They were trailing most of the game, came back, and they kind of blew it. But I think I'm going Indiana here. They've been good at home. They've been good overall. and I like their form more than Portland's current form. I'll take the Pacers.
Yeah, no, I think this is a tough little road trip for them too, going from Minnesota to Indiana. Then they got Toronto on Sunday. And like I said, they're not playing their best basketball right now. I think this is a time where you can fade them. And Indiana is really hard to get in front of them. They covered the last 5 games. They've won 4 out of the last 5 outright. All of them have been dogs, but they've been playing pretty decent as a favorite over the season. 5-4 as a favorite. Your only concern is that 13-7 as an underdog for Portland, but this is like a rough stretch for Portland. I feel confident in just saying that in a toss-up game, I'll take the home team. So yeah, give me Indiana -1.5.
I think this line should be a lot higher, to be honest with you. I get that Indiana people still don't trust because of the youth of the team, and Portland still has a lot of firepower that could match Indiana.
Mhm.
But based on current form and on how good Indiana's been at home this season, why is this not like 3 or 3.5?
I wouldn't if it was 3 or 3.5, I would be back on Portland.
Yeah, you could be. I'm just saying, doesn't this line feel short based on current form?
I think it's just more of the fact that Indiana can't defend. Like they're dogs for a reason. Like they're not
Yeah.
just underdogs because everybody's disrespecting the team Indiana Pacers. No, they're underdogs because they can't defend anything. The only thing they can defend is the paint. And if you're a good jump shooting team, you can shoot the ball on the outside. You're gonna give them problems and score a bunch of points. So I'm not mad at the line. I think the line is pretty spot on, honestly. Indiana should be a home favorite. I think they deserve that right after how they played over the past few games and this season. And Portland is reeling. But the total is where you got me. I don't know how I don't see points in this game.
Yeah, I like the over too. This game could really go over in a variety of ways. Either Portland doesn't show up defensively and Halliburton has another 14 assist type game, or you have Lillard or Grant or Simons or all the above that just go nuclear and you get points. I'm on the over. I see pace here. I kind of wish Nurkic wasn't playing for the pace because I do think that he could potentially help result in a slower game, but
Yeah.
I'm on the over here. I just see a lot of overall good shot making.
Anthony Simons is his day.
You think it's his day?
Yeah, I think it's his day.
He actually did me a solid. I had a player prop for a different show earlier this week.
Mhm.
I had him under 3.5 assists. He had 3 assists in the first quarter, and he finished with 3.
Okay.
So he did me a solid. He got into foul trouble. He played like 20-something minutes. But he had 0 assists in the final 3 quarters. But
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Let's go into the next game of the slate. We have the Brooklyn Nets, your Brooklyn Nets, the surging Brooklyn Nets, the best team in the league after Jacques Vaughn has taken over Brooklyn Nets, are playing the New Orleans Pelicans in New Orleans. Nets are laying 4.5 on the road. Get New Orleans as a home dog. You don't see that too often. 231 is the total injury report for these two teams. And you're not going to see Zion Williamson for the Pelicans at all, but you're also not going to see Brandon Ingram still. Larry Nance Jr. and Willie Hernan Gomez both are questionable. And for the Brooklyn Nets, TJ Warren is questionable with the rib injury. That's about it for Brooklyn. Okay, so Brooklyn did lose against the Nets. Not against the Nets. They did lose against the Bulls, but we talk about the Bulls and how they've been playing up the competition recently. Do we keep riding with Brooklyn here, or is this a pretty good spot for New Orleans, who's shorthanded, to try to make something shake?
I'm really torn here because on one hand, the Nets on paper should be the obvious play here because there's no Zion, there's no Ingram. You're looking at McCollum and a bunch of role players, basically. I mean, that's what you're looking for New Orleans. They smacked Houston in their last game. Congrats. Houston sucks. So you gotta beat the teams in front of you, but I'm not exactly going to read into much. However, this line has come down. I believe it opened up at 5.
Yes,
so
it did.
you'd assume that the Nets would be just getting a bunch of money from everybody in the line.
No, everybody's actually on New Orleans.
That's what I'm saying. It's a little weird from the betting spot. You'd assume that everyone would be taking Durant and Kyrie off a loss against the team missing a bunch of good players. New Orleans is what are they, like 17-4 at home?
Oh, let's see.
This team is disgusting at home.
Straight up, they are 17-4 straight up, 13-8 against the spread.
Like, if we're going to talk about the Warriors being insane at home, and we're going to talk about these other teams, people keep sleeping on New Orleans. Like 17-4 at home is crazy.
I think New Orleans actually has the second best record in the league at home
They're better than
compared to
Cleveland, so they should
because
be.
Golden State, I think they only had 3 losses.
Yeah, Golden State just
That
lost
that lost
their
to
yeah.
so they had to go prior to that Pistons game, and then the Pistons made it 3, which is
Mhm.
hilarious because if you watch the Draymond Green show, he was like, we've done really well at home. We expect to have another win the next week, and then the next game, and then the next game was the Pacers, and they lost. I thought it was kind of funny.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, he really jinxed the hell out of that. Like
Yeah,
it
he
was
did.
really really funny. But yeah, this team is, and it doesn't matter because they haven't had Zion for multiple games. They haven't had Brandon Ingram. What feels like the entire season. I can't remember the last time I
It's
seen
been
Brandon
at
Ingram
least a
play.
month. It might have been
Yeah,
2 months at this point. It's been a while.
yeah. So they've been getting it done with a short-handed, but it's like I don't know which side to back. Do we back the home dog that's been great at home, or do we back the team that's just been great overall?
I think I'm going to hold my nose and lean New Orleans based on how the line has moved. Now, on the other side, you have the Nets on Friday night. I've mentioned it before. They're a really good Friday night team. I don't know why. It's been that way for several years. But I do think New Orleans, with the line coming down, is extremely live to win this game. Let's put it this way. I don't think the Nets
Mhm.
are free money. I think that this game's going to
No.
be competitive. And I think from what we saw with Chicago, yes, Durant went for 44, but we saw DeSunwu really kind of make his presence known in that fourth quarter with the defensive intensity on the backcourt. And with
Mhm.
Alvarado and with the overall mentality that New Orleans has, they're not going to back down from this Nets team. They're going to actively pressure the ball, and I think they could make life uncomfortable for the Nets because of it. Plus, you look at the rebounding advantage here, and even though the Pelicans are missing a couple of guys in the front court, Valanciunas should feast in this game on the glass, and the Nets are
Yeah.
still a terrible rebounding team. So if the Pelicans win the rebounding battle by, let's say, 10 to 15, it's a reasonable number. That means Pelicans are still going to get a lot more possessions because of it. So I think I'm going to lean New Orleans. I'm going to lean under in this game. I think this game is a little bit more defense than people think, but I think New
Yeah.
Orleans is actually live to win this game. I'm going to lean New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you with New Orleans. I really was trying to make a case for Brooklyn, and I tried to have a tiebreaker of free throws because I think that if Brooklyn makes this a close game, free throws could be the thing that get them the cover.
We
But
could just live bet it from free throws because if Simmons makes one, you just bet on New Orleans.
yeah, and so
What are they?
50.
1-7, 1-8 when Simmons makes a free throw? The Nets.
I think it's some crazy stat. I saw it. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's some crazy
I
stat.
think it's 1-8. I think, but Simmons made his first free throw last game since November, which is absolutely crazy. But it explains why the Nets have won a bunch of games in a row. But yeah, everyone's going to take the Nets for most. I'd say the public would.
I
I'm
think
going to take.
the sharps
Yeah.
are betting heavy on New Orleans.
Hmm.
I think we just follow that. Take New Orleans plus 4.5. Both teams are equal in free throw percentage, 77.5 for Brooklyn and 77 on the dot for New Orleans. So it's gonna be a good one. Total sitting at 231, opened up 229.5.
Once again, I'm going to lean under. You can make a case either way again. I'm hoping that New Orleans' offense does struggle a bit with the missing that much firepower, and that results in a lower scoring game. But you
Mm-hmm.
still have Herb Jones, who's a great defensive player. You still have Alvarado, who might get a little bit of a boost in minutes just for his overall defense. New Orleans has guys that can guard quite
Yeah.
well. Dyson Daniels as well, I really like defensively.
Yep.
I think that they have enough overall defensive length and versatility to turn this game into something a bit uglier than people think. I'm going to lean
Herb
under.
Herb Jones versus Kevin Durant is going to be the matchup for me. If Herb Jones can keep him in that 20 to 25 range
Mhm.
instead of 30 to 35,
Or an inefficient 30, either one.
yeah, an inefficient 30, if he can make life hard for Kevin Durant, then man. All right, I'm on under as well. Next game on the slate, we have the New York Knicks, my New York Knicks, going to play the Toronto Raptors in Toronto, minus 3.5 for the Raptors. 218 is the total. For the Knicks, RJ Barrett, you're not seeing him for some time, and Otto Porter Jr. for the Raptors, you're not seeing them. So pretty healthy on both sides of the ball.
Forgot Otto Porter was even on the Raptors. Okay.
You have your Knicks auto bet of Knicks first half. Doesn't matter what situation is, you just take it. Raptors have been reeling as a team recently, so feel pretty decent about that Knicks auto bet of the first half. As for the game,
Are you just blindly taking Siakam over? You still
yeah,
traumatized from last time?
yeah. Well, I mean, a little bit less because he's not in the Garden, so he's not trying to like show out and for other people. But everybody and their mother's on the Knicks in this game. Everybody on their mother and the Knicks in this game. And as a Knicks fan, I know what that means. Just take Toronto. Just take Toronto. It's ugly. It's disgusting. Toronto's playing terrible basketball, but this is a pretty good spot where the Knicks, who have been playing well, and this is actually a trend too. So when Team A has won the last two games and then Team B has lost the last two games, but Team B is laying points, I think that trend is somewhere around 55, 56% of Team B covering that spread. So you have Toronto, who's lost last game at home against Milwaukee, who Milwaukee's coming off a back to back, lost at the Pacers in a game that people felt fairly confident they were favored in both of those games. Knicks coming off of two wins, Phoenix and San Antonio both at home. Now they're on the road going to Toronto. I think I like Toronto's chances just because of the system play there that I just labeled out. And the Knicks are just not good when everybody's on them. Like when everybody bets them, they're not good. Trust me, I know because I get frustrated at it all the time. And Toronto needs a get right spot. And what's better than a get right spot than the New York Knicks coming to Toronto? So yeah, I'll bet Toronto here minus 3.5.
I'm gonna go with Toronto as well. We have different methods on how we got to this point, but I still like Toronto. We had the same conclusion. I think it's pretty weird that money's come in on Toronto and that they're up to 4. Toronto won the first game. I believe they were the team that snapped the Knicks' winning streak about a month
Mm-hmm.
ago or a couple weeks ago. Toronto's last game was one of the weirdest games I've ever seen. You had about 25 points in the first quarter. Milwaukee was
Yep.
killing them. And then Toronto had one of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen and then lost the game in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can build on that. I think the fact that they didn't roll over and die against the one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference and the fact that they were actually able to go down to the wire in a game that most teams would roll over in,
Yeah.
I think emotionally that's actually a positive. I think they can build on that. The Knicks last game won. The Spurs really just flipped the tank switch in the final 10 seconds. A 5-second count on the inbound pass, and then you don't even get a shot. Then you don't even get a shot off after the 2 free throws
Pop
at the
was
end. Like
livid. Like Pop was livid.
he was faking being livid because he wants Wemby, but still, that was just bizarre how that worked itself out. But San
Well,
Antonio's not a
is
good
Pop
team.
gonna get Wemby or is Tim Duncan gonna get Wemby?
I think they'll give Pop first crack, and we'll go
I
from
don't
there.
know.
I don't know.
Tim
We'll see.
Duncan's been on that bench for some time now.
He has, but I think Pop. It's his job until he doesn't want it anymore. That's how I'm shocked he's still there. We've talked about this before, but
Yeah, I thought Pop was gonna pull the Coach K and be like, "All right, World Tour, this is it. Gonna be
yeah,
done. Audi 5,000. I'm gonna get you the number one overall pick, and then I'm gonna hand it off to somebody else."
yeah. But the way that I see it, I think that the Raptors are in a decent spot here. The Knicks are still a good team, but based on how the lines moved and the fact that Siakam once again just went for a 50 piece against this team,
Yeah.
even though he's not going to go for 50 again, the Knicks can't guard him. Like Siakam's that perfect tweener that the Knicks don't have an answer for. He's too quick for Mitchell Robinson, but he's also a little bit too quick for Randall. And I don't really know who on the Knicks is supposed to guard him well for an entire 48 minutes. Like who's supposed to guard him?
Mm, I mean,
He's a tweener. Like they don't have a guy like that to actually stay in front of him. So I think Siakam should have a big game. Van Vliet might shoot better. I know he was awful in the first half. He kind of picked it up there in the second half. Still have Gary Trent, still have Anunoby. I kind of like the weapons here. I'll go
yeah.
with Toronto at home. I'll back the line movement.
218. We're taking under.
Yeah, I'm not taking it over with Toronto. I see this game being ugly. First meeting, Siakam once again dropped the 50 piece. That game still landed 219.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
on
with
the
it.
under.
No, I'm here with you. I don't even think this. It's a possibility this doesn't get to 210. All right, next game on slate, we have the Charlotte Hornets, or the remnants of the Charlotte Hornets, going to play the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee. Milwaukee's laying 10. This line also opened at minus 11. There is so much money on Charlotte right now that it actually did drop this line to 10. For the Hornets, you have Gordon Hayward, who was doubtful. James Bouknight out.
Do we
Kai
just end the
Jones out.
handicap when you said Gordon Hayward's doubtful?
Yeah, I wanted
Is
to,
that when we
but
end it?
I'm gonna do us, the listeners justice. Giannis is probable. Drew Holiday is probable. Joe Ingles is not on the injury report. George Hill is probable. Beauchamp is probable. Chris Middleton is out. Guys, they're so bad when Gordon Hayward doesn't play. Like they're so bad when Gordon Hayward doesn't play. Gordon Hayward earns his money. Yeah, he earns his money because somehow this team goes from a bad team that you can sometimes back to completely fade. Like they are fade city when he is not in the lineup. I don't have anything else to say. Like there's no reason you should be on Charlotte in this game at all. Lay whatever with Milwaukee. And the fact that everybody's laying points with Charlotte makes me feel even better about Milwaukee. Milwaukee, a completely different team at home. They are 14-6 against the spread at home, 18-12-1 as a favorite. This is the spot, man. I know that the Hornets have come up and down, and there's been weird covers and all of that over the past couple weeks with them. I'm not backing this team without Gordon Hayward. Like that is just pure 101 Charlotte basketball right now. I'm not backing this team without Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, I'm on Milwaukee. I want to make a case to get double digits, but I can't. Charlotte sucks. There's no way around it. They're 5-15 on the road. Milwaukee, another great home team, 16-4. That's straight up, though. I don't exactly have the ATS numbers in front of me. But the point is, Milwaukee has had Giannis go nuclear for the last week and a half. And if we're going to keep talking about how teams have no rim protection, or we're going to roast teams, Charlotte is one of the experts at no rim protection.
No love for Mason Plumlee?
No. As you know, I'm a bigger Nick. I'm a bigger Nick Richards guy. I've been calling for Richards to start after about the first week of the season. I know he's been banged up recently too. They have Mark Williams, who they barely use. I think Mark Williams
He's played better. Like everybody's played better. I don't know what Plumlee has over the people in that organization. Like what he has something. It's the same thing that Taj Gibson has over Thibodeau. Like he has something. Because I don't have no idea how you see Richards and Mark Williams play, and you continue to give Mason Plumlee the bulk of the
Even watching him at Duke, like you knew Williams would be good. Even Kai Jones, I thought was good in college. I thought he should get more minutes, but
I don't know what Plumlee
I don't get it. But
him.
the point is, if Giannis is going to go for 55 against Washington, and now he's facing off against Mason Plumlee and company, if he plays enough minutes, he's going for 40. Like, how the hell are you supposed to stop this guy? He's going to get a free runway to the lane every time. And if we talk about LeBron against Charlotte or LeBron against Atlanta, and we talk about all these other great just home run spots for players, if Giannis is going to go to the rim and nobody on Charlotte, forget about guarding him, is going to try to get in his way, he's walking into 40. Like, yeah, I think Giannis over in points, even though it's a high number, I have to like Milwaukee. The only concern is a blowout, and you're worried about them pulling Giannis potentially. But even if Giannis plays, like, let's just say 30 minutes, he could still go for 40. Like, I don't think Charlotte can stop this guy.
Yeah, no. Giannis points and rebounds. They asked him about Giannis rebounds. Rebounds is still a good play, too, as well. Giannis should put on a show. Like, he really should put on a show. I don't think that there's any way that Charlotte gets in front of him. I think they roll over in this game, and there's just not there's such a night and day difference. And it's crazy that you can go from a bad team to an even worse team with a player that we really don't even respect that much in the league anymore.
Like the Wizards still have Porzingis or Gafford. Like they at least have a couple of guys who I'm not saying are good rim protectors, but they can try. Charlotte's even worse in that aspect. Giannis, if he does what he did against Washington, which is I'm barely going to shoot jumpers, I'm going to the hoop, deal with it.
55, no threes.
Yeah, like he really could have a game like that if he wanted to. If he was in full attack mode the entire game, he's going for 50.
He might actually try to do that. All right. Total, real quick, total's at 232.5. It actually went down to 233. And I agree with it going down because I don't think Charlotte's going to contribute to this at all. Like, I think Charlotte's going to do nothing to this total at all. I think this is going to be an absolute rout. I'm going the under 232.5.
I think I'm on the over because I think Milwaukee might score 130. It's really tough for me to constantly go to the under window with Charlotte. I understand that offensively they stink, and Milwaukee might put the clamps down.
Did you see when Ja rolled the ball out the court and nobody went to pick him up and he was just standing in the backcourt.
Oh,
Like,
for at least 20 seconds.
yeah, and somehow that game still went over. So I completely understand your point.
Yeah, but that game's a perfect example of it. I leaned to the under in that game,
Yeah,
thinking
no,
Memphis's
I
defense
completely
would
understand.
dominate, and they did. Memphis's defense was great, but Charlotte's defense was so bad that even when benching Ja for the fourth quarter, they still give up 130. So
Oh,
I,
such a
I think
bad
I'm
beat
leaning
here.
over. I don't know.
Such a bad beat on point
I'd
on Ja
rather take
points
team
there.
totals here, like Milwaukee over, Charlotte under. You meet in the middle, you find some type of team total you like.
Yeah. All right, let's go with the next game on the slate. Washington Wizards going to OKC to play the Oklahoma City Thunder. -1.5 for the Thunder. 231.5 is the total. Injury report for these two teams that we have for the Wizards. Gafford's not on the injury report. Taj Gibson is questionable with the groin. Bradley Beal is not playing with the hamstring. Addition by subtraction. Like, not saying that Beal's a bad player, but they have been playing better without him recently.
Yeah.
Jalen Williams is out for OKC. You have Pokusevski, Da, Robinson Earl, all still on the injury report. Jalen Williams is the only person that's getting minutes that's not playing in this one. All right. I really just wanted to stop after I said Golden State, not Golden State, but after I said Oklahoma City -1.5. Like, I wanted to stop talking right there because it was already decided what I was playing. I'm playing Washington +1.5. Washington on the money line. I'm not taking OKC as a favorite. I'm not doing it. 3-7 straight up, 3-7 against the spread as a favorite. They're not even close. They're not winning these games. This is a terrible spot for them. They just don't get it done as a favorite. I don't care what Shea does. They just have not got it done as a favorite. So I'll back Washington in this spot.
I think I'm going to agree with you. I feel like people will blindly take the Thunder because the last time they were at home, they scored 150 against Boston. And Boston was so good last night that people might immediately overrate the Thunder and say, this Thunder team scored 150 against this team.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they're pretty good. The thing about Washington, I don't like them as a team. I don't think they're very good. But you look at how they've played without Beal, and it's a big reason during the
The ball
offseason.
moves. The ball moves so
Bolt
much.
moves well, and we talked about it during the offseason. I don't think Beal's a winning basketball player. I think he's an empty calorie stat guy. I've mentioned it for years. And you look at Beal's success in the
Bradley,
league,
keep a bag Beal.
it's an oxymoron because he leads the league in scoring one year, and they're not even close to the playoffs. So, like, you look at what the Wizards have done. Westbrook had his triple-double run there for a year with Washington. They made the playoffs technically, and they got buried in the first round to Philly. They made the playoffs a couple times with Wall, and they didn't really do much after that. Isaiah Thomas basically owned the franchise, and he dropped 53 points in a playoff game. But I just think that Washington gave Beal a bunch of money, and they're going to tolerate being mediocre. Porzingis has been okay. But this team, in general, I think is good enough to hang around with OKC. This game's going to be close. It's not going to be easy one way or another. But without Beal, I do actually think the supporting cast has stepped up in his absence. They haven't won many games. But Giannis, I just talked about dropping 55 against them last game. Washington was still competitive. That was like a 5-point game with 6 minutes to go. Like, they hung around in Milwaukee. I don't think that's really a bad performance. I'm going to go ahead and take Washington. I think this team is good enough to hang around and pull off a win. So I'll go with the Wizards.
Yeah, I'm with you. Same way, all around handicap. 231.5 is the total.
My favorite play is the over. I just see a bunch of points here. I think Shea could go nuts. Kuzma can go nuts. Porzingis can go nuts. Does anybody in this game actually pride themselves on defense besides a little bit of Daniel Gafford? Dort.
Yeah, Dort is the only person. I didn't even call Gafford. Like, I didn't even have Gafford when I was thinking about defense. I only had Lou Dort. So.
I just mentioned the Wizards. That's why they were in my head first. But Dort, of course, is the main answer. But I have to like the over here. I just don't see many stops in this game.
There is a play that I like in this game that I don't think people are on. I wonder what the line is set at now. It is Jalen Williams, and it's Jalen spelled Jalen. The other Jalen with the I and a Y, he is out. But the Jalen with the Len, he has been rebounding the basketball, and it's not been anything spectacular. But they've been setting
center, technically,
kind of, sorta. He kind of, sorta has been that role, and they've been having his line set at 3.5 for the longest, like 3.5 rebounds for the longest. And if I don't know what it's at now, but the last couple of games he has three, like 3 games in a row, he's had three. But before that, 5, 9, 7, 4, 7. Like he's been around there. And with other Jalen Williams out as well, it might be a pretty decent spot for him to get some rebounds. Somebody's going to have to rebound for this team. Like somebody's going to have to do it. Everybody thinks it's going to be Josh Giddey, like because he's their best rebounder. He leads the team in rebounds, 8 rebounds per game. I like the big. If I had to pick a big, I'm picking Williams, and I like Williams to. His line's probably going to be at like 4, maybe 5.
I
think he
can't
has
argue with
a
the actual value. I mean, the value's obviously present based on recent form and the injury report for OKC. So I agree with you there. I see Mets actually mentioning back at the Bucks game, are we blindly taking like Lopez or Portis rebounds? It's a good call. We
Yeah,
probably should. That's a good
we
call.
probably should like a double double.
You blindly take Lopez blocks with that, just assuming he goes for like 3-4 blocks.
He's still. I think he's actually locked in and trying to get this Defensive Player of the Year, and I think the
He
team
should.
wants him to get it. So, like, I think the team wants him to get it. So,
I'm
definitely blocks.
I think if Jaren Jackson stays healthy, he's going to win it because some people think he was allegedly hosed last year, and Lopez still has Giannis next to him.
I'm some people. I'm some people.
Yeah. Okay. The
But
point is that there's a narrative built in,
yeah,
and the fact is you're looking around the rest of the team. Giannis has won defensive player before. You can make a case that Lopez just has a very good supporting cast with him.
and you can't really
Jrue
use that
Holiday.
against him because Marcus Smart won it last year, and Robert Williams. Like there were so many people that were like top 10 in all defensive metrics on
Yeah.
that Boston team, and Smart still won it. So
Robert Williams also missed what, like half the year last year?
yeah, so I think it's quick defensive player of the year. I really think it's between Lopez, it's between Anunoby.
I think it's Lopez and Jaren Jackson. That's how I look at it.
I think Anunoby's like an outside. He's on the outside of those two guys.
I think he's on the outside. I like him a lot. The issue is I don't think he can stay healthy for long enough to actually win the award.
I think he's just not in the right market. Like nobody's watching Toronto basketball.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing with Herb Jones. Like I don't think Herb Jones is in the right market for him to win defensive.
He was my offseason pick at like 80, 90 to 1. I mean, he should be first team all defense guaranteed, but
yeah, for sure.
We'll see.
All right. Let's move on to
Wait, so do you agree with the over? I just don't see any.
Yeah, I'm with you on the over.
Okay.
All right, WinBet is the official online sportsbook of Sports Gambling Podcast Network. WinBet is active in a bunch of states. They have live betting, same game parlays, the win, build your own bet. Hey, tap into the Mothership Pod later today, 2 p.m. Eastern. What is that, like 11 Pacific, I think? Whatever. Yeah. I'm going to be on there, and I'm going to have a win, build your own bet for this weekend in NFL. Great promos, odds, and payouts all happening at WinBet. Sign up today, receive a special offer, bet $100 when you win a $100 free bet. Limited to state availability. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to change, terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older in present state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right. Next game on the slate, we have the Detroit Pistons on the road to go play the San Antonio Spurs in a battle of the tank off. Well, I don't think the Pistons are actually tanking. I think that they're trying. They're just bad.
Yeah.
Whereas
shout out to them for being Golden State. Shout out.
Yeah, definitely shout out to them for beating Golden State. Whereas San Antonio, they're 100% tanking. Like you can watch San Antonio, you can tell that they give up in games and they just say, "All right, this is an L." -1.5 for the Spurs. How many times have the Spurs been a favorite? Just guess. How many times do you think they've been a favorite this season?
4.
Twice.
Okay.
They are 1-1 straight up as a favorite.
In their defense, one of their teams is favored in scrimmage.
Yeah.
In practice, one of their teams is favored. So.
Yeah, one of them does have to be favored. If you have two teams in practice, one of them has to. Well, no, they probably set it at a pick. I'd set it at a pick. Mm-hmm. All right. I mean,
I'm blindly on the over. Let's start there.
Do you have a problem if you feel like you have to bet this game?
I really like the over. I think
I like that, but like if you bet
a side, you might have a problem. Do you have a problem? But maybe. I heard the donuts are free in the meetings, so if you want to get some dessert, they got donuts in the back of the room, maybe some free
and
coffee.
I heard that the DJs go for duck donuts too.
Ooh.
So Yeah,
Nice. They have
yeah,
chairs, you could sit down, you can meet some people.
yeah.
Similar interests, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, I think at the end of the day,
It's in a non-betting regulation state, so it's like in like South Carolina or something. So
yeah.
people can't put plays in. Oh man, I don't know.
I think you
What
got a
you
problem
got
on the
it.
side. San Antonio at home, you can make a case for, I guess, because Detroit's so bad on the road, but they just beat Golden State. I just like the over. Neither team cares about defense, and I see
Nope.
points. I just think that this game's going to turn into a bit of a track meet because neither team's really focused on defense, and offensively, both teams have been quietly okay recently.
Mhm.
I just think you're looking at a game totals 236, which sounds disgusting, but I think I kind of have to take the over. If I had to make one play here besides player props, I'll go with an over. I think that both teams get to 120.
For my gamblers anonymous people that need a side on this one, I
I'm
wanted to
leaning San
fade.
Antonio at home.
Oh, see, look, I wanted to go San Antonio. I wanted to fade the Pistons off of getting that win at Golden State, but Devin Vassell's not playing in this one. That's their second best scorer, and now I have to play dartboard to figure out who's going to be the second and third leading scorers in this game. Maybe it's Trey Jones, maybe it's Josh Richardson, maybe it's McDermott, maybe it's Sochan, who's been playing a lot better recently. I'll just take the team that I know where the scoring is going to come from. I know Bogdanovich is going to go off
Mhm.
against the Spurs. I like backing him against the Western Conference teams. I know that Jayton Ivey still is really, really good. Can have a really good season. Sadiq Bey is nothing to play about. Like they have a bunch of scorers that I think with Killian Hayes back in the lineup he should be able to get them the ball and get a bunch of assists in this game. I think the Pistons can play more of a team basketball style game, and I do think the Pistons are the better team. They just suck when it comes time to actually win the game. But yeah, I'll take the Pistons here plus 1.5 on the road. Sure.
Once again, I think it's a coin flip. I still like the props here. If I like the over, I like the over
Yeah,
for
you
a
love
bunch of
props.
players. I mean,
I'm not fading Duran's. Did
Duran
you know
rebounds.
I got his double double in that Golden State game at plus 235.
I
What?
don't know. What did he finish with in rebounds?
13 and 13, I
13
think.
and 13? Okay.
I think.
I got to like Killian Hayes assists.
Yes, I love his There's
There's a
so many
bunch of
props I
overs I
love in
like
this
in this
game.
game. Yeah.
Let
This
me
this is
double check
the
that.
DFS Millie Maker game.
No, 100%. This one and what did we talk about? It was another one earlier that he had 18 and 11. Somebody else had 13 and 13. I can't remember who it was, but he had
No,
18 and
Wendell
11 in
Carter
that
at
game.
13 and 13.
That's what it was. I knew it was somebody with 13 and 13. Great number there. But yes, this is definitely one of your Millie Maker games for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Next game on the slate, we have, if anybody didn't catch my drift, I'm with Scott on the over, by the way.
That's my favorite play. That's the only thing I'm really tempted by in this game.
Yeah, and I'll take I like the first half over as well.
Yeah.
Cleveland Cavaliers are going to Denver to play the Denver Nuggets. -6.5 for the Nuggets at home. 222 is total. Injury report here for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we have. Did I go over that injury report in that last game? I didn't. Well,
I don't
nothing
know if it
really.
matters, to be honest.
It
They all
really
got
didn't
replacement
matter.
players anyway.
I
I don't
said
know if it
Vassell's
matters.
not playing. That's the only thing you really need to know. All right. For the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell is out. That's probably why the line moved as it did. Darius Garland is questionable. And for the Nuggets, Jamal Murray said he'll play. Injury management on a back-to-back. They said he's going to play, though. Oh, man. What was the minutes in that game last night?
I don't think any starter played after halftime. Like it was bad. It turned into a G League game for the second half. Like it
So
was really bad.
the most minutes by a starter was 29 by KCP. Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon both had 21. Michael Porter Jr. had 22. Jokic had 24. The Cavs are really bad on the road, man.
Yeah, very.
Like they are not good on the road. And now you're telling me no Donovan Mitchell and potentially no Darius Garland. Like it's not a foregone conclusion that Garland, just because he's questionable, he's playing in this one. He's missed some time with that thumb injury. I think they're taking their time with them, making sure he's good. So it's a very good possibility that you see it out for Darius Garland later tonight.
It looks like
5,
Cleveland's
11, and
punting the
1
game.
on the road. 3 and 5 as an underdog.
I know we've seen spots where teams step up without their best players. Doesn't this just look like an active punt job? Like Cleveland somehow pulled out a win they probably didn't deserve against Phoenix in that game. They were down most of the game. They had like 36 points in the first half. They came back and they won the game. It looks like they're just told Mitchell, listen, you were awful against Phoenix before the fourth quarter because you were exhausted from your 71
You
point
need a
game.
break.
Just take all the time you need. And Garland's the same way. I think I'm leaning Denver. It really is a great letdown spot for Denver after crushing the Clippers on national TV.
Yeah.
It looks like Cleveland doesn't give a damn.
If Cleveland wins, there's only one way that I'll play Cleveland winning.
They're parlaying it with LeVert 35 plus points.
Because LeVert has to be his streaky.
Is that where you're going? Because
that is 100% where I was going
in this game.
That is 100% where I was going. I'm so glad me and you are on the same page about this. Like we're locked in because it was 100%. If LeVert is streaky and this is his bad streaky game, they're gonna get ran out the building. But there is a possibility that Karis LeVert comes in here and drops 70 his damn self. Like that is a actual possibility. Karis LeVert has the skill to do that. So am I saying that he's going to walk in here and score 70? No, I'm not LeBron. I'm not just penciling people in for 70 on a random ass night. But Karis LeVert has to have a big game for Cleveland to be even remotely in this, I think. So
even if they're not remotely in it, like who else is supposed to take shots for this team?
Yeah, he's going to get all the volume. I'm on Karis LeVert. I think that if I play Cleveland, I'm only playing it attached to Karis LeVert. Otherwise than that, I'm probably on Denver. In terms of what I'm going to put on the picks page, Denver's a regular season team, so I'll put Denver -6.5.
I'm a bit annoyed because they don't have any LeVert props up at the moment. I was trying to find 30 plus or
I was
something.
looking for it. Trust me.
I was looking for top point scorer in the game. Like I see Jared Allen was like 11-1. Like they didn't have LeVert up, but they had a couple other guys, which annoyed me.
And Jared Allen's 11-1. LeVert's got to be 7-1.
Probably, which I don't know if I want to chase at that point. But the point is we saw it eye to eye because LeVert is another guy who thinks he's better than he is and is just he
Stop
plays
playing
the
that guy
game
like
his
that.
way.
He's good. He's just his
I watch him
basketball
with the
IQ
Nets.
isn't the
He's
basketball IQ isn't the best, but he is a pure scorer. I will give him that much.
He had one possession in that Mitchell game, by the way, where Mitchell has like 60-something points. They're feeding him the ball every possession, and then LeVert gets the ball. I think it was either in the fourth quarter or overtime. And LeVert just immediately got the ball. Didn't even look at Mitchell, who had about
and went for it.
Not even close. Not even close.
It was like in. I don't think he took another shot in the game after that.
No, the coach probably told him like never shoot the ball again. But Mitchell had like 60. He's on an all-time heater. And LeVert didn't even look his way.
Because I'm sweating. I'm still sweating Cleveland at this point. I'm still sweating Cleveland. And so I see that play and I'm like, oh my gosh.
He didn't give a damn.
Get it. I'm like, Donovan Mitchell's about to have this crazy game and they're going to lose. And so, that's
it's hilarious. Fitting because they're against each other in this game. I think Karis LeVert and Michael Porter Jr. would be best friends.
Yeah, they really would.
They really would.
I would love to see it. I would love to see a game to 21 versus those two.
Mm-hmm. You could throw in like a prime JR, Syracuse Dion Waiters. You know, you got a
we got to do that and just have a fun episode where we build like the team of players that all play exactly. Dion Waiters 100%.
Waiters is one of my favorite NBA quotes of all time. I'd rather be like 0 for 30 than 0 for 5 because it means you lost confidence. That's one of my all-time favorite quotes. But yeah, a lot of guys like that in the NBA.
Totals at 222 under Cleveland.
I have to be on the under. Cleveland's a good defensive team, and they're benching their entire team. Like I have to go with the under.
All right. Next game on the slate, back-to-back for the Clippers as well. I'm going to play Minnesota, -3 for Minnesota. 226 is total.
Do we think Minnesota? I can't say.
Wait. Let me do due diligence. Due diligence because we gotta do due diligence. John Wall, Kawhi are TBD, of course. Nick Batum, unlikely to play. Naz Reid for the Timberwolves, questionable. Bryn Forbes, questionable. McLaughlin now. Now we can get to the point where we say that we're not betting Minnesota no matter what.
Well, this is what I was going to ask you. I was going to table it. Minnesota has been so bad for so long this season. Yeah. They've actually looked okay with Gobert in the lineup. Huge
Yeah.
progression. They've won a couple games. Big step.
Yeah.
The Clippers, I still don't know what the hell that was last night.
I can't make sense of it.
I can't either. Can you rest one of the two big guys after showed the game? Like, I think
Oh,
Paul George and
100%.
Kawhi have to play, don't they?
Oh no, they don't have to play, not at all. And
Have to
I
is
am
not the right word.
fairly
I think they
I'm
will. They
I'm
barely
fairly
played
I know
yesterday
for a
anyway.
fact Kawhi is not playing. That's
Okay.
100%. I know for a fact Kawhi is not going to play. Like they can put whatever tag they want to put on him. They can say whatever. I know for a fact Kawhi is not playing a back to back. That is determined. Paul George is an outlier because Paul George has been playing more, so he could very well
What
play.
do you have? 3 points? 6?
Yes, I think it was
Okay.
3. I know for a fact it wasn't double digits.
There's not
Kawhi
enough
had
memes
6.
going around. I need a black and white photo of Paul George with the Wilt Chamberlain piece of paper with the number 3 in it. Like, I need more memes from this game. I haven't
Yeah,
seen any. I
absolutely.
need
It's
more of it.
really, really bad, man. Like I just there's no way I'm not on. Like, come on. They gave up the game because they knew they had this back to back. Like they knew there's no way you give up that game and you don't have a back to back.
I'm
They
really
gave
on the
up because
fence
they
in
knew
this
they had the
game.
back to back.
I'm really on the fence
I'm
here
not on the
because
fence. Give me the Clippers +3 and give me the
I think
Clippers
I
to go
love
on the
the
money line.
under
I'm
as my
not
favorite.
taking
I
Minnesota.
love the under as my favorite play in this game.
Yeah, I feel comfortable with under as well.
I'm kind of torn on the side though because Minnesota's played better, which I will admit. Now I still don't trust them. However, I've always mentioned that if you want a decent, I don't have any stats behind it, but just selective recall. If you blindly back teams after they get embarrassed on national TV games, they tend to play really well the game after.
Yeah.
Usually.
I think Clippers are potentially my dog for today, just
Okay.
because of how terrible they played yesterday. I think that this is a really good bounce back spot in a game where they clearly gave up. Like
Yeah.
it's clear and obvious they gave up on the game. And so if you give up on a game, that means you're aiming for tomorrow's game. Paul George played 14 minutes, Reggie Jackson played 18, Marcus Morris played 15, Zubac played 16, and Kawhi played 18.
You know that they were already game planning, the coaches I'm talking about. The halftime speech was already game planning for Gobert.
Yeah.
Like they used the entire bench unit in the second half. There was no way that they had any game planning for Denver in that second half. They were already
No.
pivoting. They brought out the Minnesota film and they started talking about Anthony Edwards
Yeah,
at
like no.
halftime.
I'm
There's
I'm
no way.
not. There's no way you're getting me on Minnesota in this
I'm just
spot.
on the under. We saw them play on ESPN earlier this year, and it was one of the ugliest games I've seen all year. I'm just on
Yep.
the under.
All right. Next game, I agree. Next game on the slate, we have the Miami Heat on the road to go play the Phoenix Suns, -2.5 for the Heat. 214 is the total. Injury report here for the two teams, and we have for Miami, Caleb Martin is questionable, Dwayne Dedman is probable, Udonis Haslam is questionable, Duncan Robinson, Kola Jovic, and Omar Yurtseven all are not playing. And for the Suns, you have Campaign who is out, and you're not seeing Booker or Johnson.
Are we sure Yurtseven's a real person? I haven't
Yes,
seen him in like a
it's
couple
been
months.
it's been a while,
Yeah.
but I know that when I've seen him in the starting lineup, he's definitely a real person because he
Yeah.
cashes money for us.
That is true. I think
Any
that
other
was a year
time,
and a
no.
half ago at this point, but
Yeah,
yes.
it does feel like a year and a half ago. All right, this is pretty simple, guys. Like it's super duper simple. Miami Heat as a favorite this season, 9-17-2. If you like, oh, just this season, that's a short sample size. What are you talking about? Okay, Miami Heat since 2017, 132, 138, and 10 as a favorite.
Also, small sample size. We're like halfway through the season.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe somebody is out here trying to really make me take the Heat as a favorite. I will not do it. There's no reason, no way, no how. I don't have to go through any basketball. I'm not taking the Heat as a favorite. You sit here and you look at this Phoenix team. One, they're already like they're good at home. I know they've had their struggles this season. This team is a team that's good at home. They've historically played really, really well in the Valley, and sitting at 11-8 against the spread, 14-5 straight up at home. We also have the fact that they playing better basketball. Like they were in the driver's seat of that game in Cleveland and they nerfed it away. Like this feels like a really good bounce back spot for them. And honestly, a little bit of a changing of the guard and to see some of the best basketball that Phoenix has shown us, because you look at this game, they have Miami at home, you get Cleveland again in a pretty close rematch at home this time. And then you go on the road, Golden State, Denver, Minnesota, Memphis. Like you have some games there where they're going to be tough, but if you want to have a chance at being towards the top of this Western Conference, you're going to have to play well in this stretch right here. I think they get this win. Give me Phoenix plus 2.5. Sprinkle on the money line.
I'm on Phoenix as well. They should have beaten Cleveland. They're 14-5 straight up at home. Miami has a losing record on the road, both this season and for the last, I don't even know, 5 years. Like it's been a while.
Yeah.
They're not a good road team. They lost to the Lakers without LeBron. I think that's all I have to say. I'm going to go with Phoenix in the spot. I think it's a good spot for them to really just generate energy from the home crowd, and I think they'll win this game. I love the under with this game, too. I know it's a low total at 214. Phoenix has scored less than 89 points in each of the last 2 games. They've scored less than 105 in each of the last 4 games. This is 2023. They can't score 105. Like, this is bad. I'm on the under. First team to 100 wins. I see a rock fight. I'm not sure either team gets to 100. I'm on the under.
Yeah, I'm with you on the under as well. Same handicap there. Next game on the slate. Let's keep it going. We're almost done. This is the last game. The Atlanta Hawks are going to play the Los Angeles Lakers on the road. Atlanta's laying 2.5. 242.5 is the total. Injury report here. Clint Capella's out for the Hawks. LeBron is probable. Russell Westbrook probable. Lonnie Walker is out. Austin Reeves is out with a hamstring. Troy Brown Jr. is questionable. Damian Jones is questionable. Max Christie is available. All right. Reeves has been shooting the ball terribly recently.
You mean all-star hopeful Reeves?
Yeah, he's definitely up there in fan voting. He is a fan favorite. I think he really just stole Alex Caruso's votes. Like all the votes Alex Caruso was getting for the All-Star, they just went over to Reeves. But I'm not taking Atlanta on the road. And I'm not taking Atlanta to win back-to-back road games.
We just saw LeBron have a birthday 47, 10, and 9 against this team. Like he's going to go nuts if he plays here. I think I have to like the Lakers too. I'm surprised Atlanta hasn't made a trade already. Like, I don't know what you're waiting for. Your team's just bad. You invested a lot in the offseason to try to make this work with Trey and DeJounte.
Mm-hmm.
Trey and the coach hate each other. Let's be real. I think McMillan can't stand him. There were rumors, I don't know how accurate they were, that McMillan considered resigning. I don't know if it's that bad, but the point is there's some rumors going around. John Collins has played well. I'll give him props. I feel like people haven't talked about him, so maybe a double-double for him. Capella might come back, which is that. Actually, no, Capella's out, I think. But
yeah, he's out.
Yeah, he's officially out. But I think I got to go with the Lakers. Give me Thomas Bryant double-double. Give me LeBron to go for maybe 40 again tonight.
Trey and DeJounte probably have a good game.
Probably.
But you're not going to see me put Atlanta anywhere on any type of bet slip, any type of picks page, anything for me, not on the road after getting a win against
2-3 weeks in of fading Atlanta, and they've just lost every game basically.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good win and way to pull it out. They almost blew it against the Kings. They almost blew it. So yeah, no, it's pretty simple for me. Give me Lakers sprinkle on the money line.
I'll take LeBron 35 plus in money line. Like LeBron, if he plays, is going to go for 35 again. They can't guard.
Pretty much. Okay. I get my injury report from Underdog. We are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Season never ends. You have weekly battle royale contests, NFL playoff best ball going on right now, NBA, NHL, plenty of daily games, pick'em contests, all this stuff. Make sure you use promo code SGPN for new customers. You can get a 100% deposit match up to $100. That's promo code SGPN on UnderdogFantasy.com. All right, lock and dog. Let's do this. For my lock, I'm going to go to Toronto minus 3.5.
Okay.
I was so close to saying Milwaukee. And if you don't say Milwaukee, it's going to be a bonus lock because I'm not going to let Milwaukee go here.
You think I'm not saying Milwaukee?
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'll take Toronto.
I thought about Giannis points too, but the blowout factor is really concerning for me. So
yeah. Toronto minus 3.5. I think this is a good spot for them to kind of turn around, get right. They always play up for the Knicks. I don't know how the Knicks are going to stop Pascal Siakam. They just don't have the personnel for it. And I think this at home, I still like Toronto at home, and they've been lackluster the past few games. So this is a really good spot for them. Plus, I told you about the trend. Team A has won the last two games. Team B has lost the last two games, but Team B is laying points. Typically goes in Team B favor. I will follow that trend. Give me Toronto minus 3.5. For my dog, all the dogs I like are not like
They're not
big.
big.
I know.
Yeah. To be
Should I
fair,
get
there's really
greedy?
not many big spreads tonight besides the Cavs who are benching half their team, and you have the Hornets, and there's really not many big spreads to talk about.
Should I be greedy? I shouldn't be greedy.
You're going with Williams double double
No,
in
no.
OKC?
I mean, I'm thinking of like a money line round robin,
Oh,
Clippers, Suns, Lakers. Like,
you said greedy, so I thought you immediately meant like Williams double double at like 10-1 or something.
oh, is that really 10-1?
Let me see what it is. I know his prices have been pretty large.
Oh well, I'm gonna
Um,
play that. I'll play that regardless.
I
But
don't I don't see it listed, unfortunately.
all right, I'm gonna play that regardless. But in terms of the show, I will make the Suns as my dog
Yeah.
at plus 115. But I will tell you that there's a pretty good chance that I have like a money line round robin going of Clippers money line, Suns money line, Lakers money line.
By
Because
the
I
way,
really feel good about
if you
all
want a
three of those.
bonus one, I think you might like Duran double doubles plus 135.
What? Why? I mean, what? Yes, plus 130. Okay, there's obviously a bunch of plus money
I had to
plays in
throw that
here.
out there too because I know we both like Duran in this matchup.
Oh, I can't put Detroit money line. I'm sorry. I was gonna say Duran double double and Detroit win, but no, can't do that. All right, yeah, just give me Suns money line plus 115. But I told you to round robin, and I really, really, really like that Duran play. All right, Scott, take it away.
All right. So for my lock, I'm gonna go with Milwaukee. Duh. I thought about doing something with Giannis, but I'm really concerned about them benching him after 3 quarters, especially after he's gone nuclear so many games in a row. They might just pull him after 3 quarters if they're up by a bunch of points.
They should have an over under of how many minutes Giannis plays tonight.
They really should. But I'm going to go with Milwaukee. I think they bury this team. They have 4 losses at home all season long. They're a very underrated home team, which sounds crazy because they're so good in general. But
Hmm.
they're like 17-4 at home and nobody's noticed. Charlotte's just bad. Clifford's ranted about the defense. They've gotten even worse at it recently. Giannis can go for 40. There's a lot of ways. Milwaukee should, by the way, with Lopez and Portis and Giannis, they might win the rebounding battle by like 20. Like this is going to get really bad on the
Yeah,
glass.
I agree.
So give me Milwaukee minus 10. I think they bury this team, and I think they win by potentially 20. So I'll go with Milwaukee as my lock. And for my dog, I think we're going to double lock Phoenix here.
All right, there we
I think we're
go.
going to go double dog Phoenix. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's a good spot. I think that even though Phoenix is a team that isn't great per se, I do think at home they're still 14-5.
Yep.
They had a game they should have won against Cleveland the last time out. I think they'll be able to get something going on Friday night at home. Miami, you can argue they're motivated against the late after losing to the Lakers. I don't even care. This team on the road is just bad. I've been selling on Miami for the last couple months. I don't really like this team and how it's currently constructed.
Hmm.
Now, I don't like how Phoenix is currently constructed either, so something's got to give here. But I'll take the team that's 14-5 at home, getting 2. I'll take the money line at like plus 120. I think it's a decent price.
All right.
Also,
Anything?
Duran double double for the honorable mention.
Anything else for the people before we get up out of here?
Not really. Stay tuned for the NFL gambling podcast, though. We are going to be doing the Saturday DFS and props.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that. But for the NBA purposes, nope. Good luck to all of you, and let's make some money this weekend.
Absolutely. If you're not already, follow us. He's at Right Show Radio. I'm at really real __. Follow the podcast, SGPN NBA on Twitter. We're on YouTube at NBA Gambling Podcast. Subscribe, comment, leave us a review on Apple and Spotify. And other than that, I mean, have a great weekend. I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No way of ending the podcast except by saying this. We are out of here.